There's a woman named Teresa Massilia. She and her mother are working on making a van. Now, there's a young woman who has this theory that shop dads are autistic. A male who builds things is autistic. This woman cited her dad and several other dads and started trying to put the pieces together in a way they don't fit. She had a couple of tiny arguments that were alright. I mean, they can kind of be construed as, yeah, maybe she's right. But most of it was her trying to basically claim that men are broken because they fix things. Okay. Or men are broken because they build things, especially shop dads. Well, no, not so much. Sometimes we just need to get the fuck away from your drama. Sometimes making something gets us and our minds away from the hell that you make our lives. Your assumptions. And of course, your belief that you are infallible. Now, how many women in the United States fuck up all the time, but somehow magically it's never their fault, it's always a man's fault? And then there's people who are autistic in the way that we are treated, which is quite horrible in this fucking country. Those of you who want to throw Temple Grandin in our face, she's not autistic, she's a psychopath. Look at what she's famous for, slaughtering animals wholesale, making it easier to slaughter animals wholesale. That's just horrible. And yes, autistic people are known for building some pretty incredible shit. There are autistic people who have created some magnificent engines of war. But what good do they do? And why were they created? Why were they designed? Why were they built? Was it because men are autistic? No. See, now we're taking gender roles and assigning them to mental illnesses. Really? That's pretty screwed up. If I build you a house, or even build myself a house, what purpose is there in having a house? Is it because you're autistic? Or because you don't want to fucking freeze to death? Is it because you're autistic? Or because you don't want to get rained on? Let's imagine if we applied that the other way, to the other set of gender roles that are obviously wrong. If your grandma sews a quilt for you, does that mean she's autistic? Just because somebody is a painter doesn't mean that they're autistic. Just because they're a mathematician doesn't mean they're autistic. But if they're extremely good at it, chances are they're probably autistic. Autism is not a bad thing. It's how you treat us that is bad. It is how you treat us that is evil. It is how you treat us in the way that you put labels on us in order to destroy our lives. And that is what these labels do. The term mentally ill should never be used. It's like calling a black person the N-word. Except if you call a black person the N-word, well, you might get your ass kicked. You might even go to jail. There's two types of family in a situation like this. There's a type of family that cares about you and wants you safe. You know, the family that gets to understand you, gets to know you, gets to understand your disabilities, and instead of trying to twist it into an excuse to harm you, why everything must be your fault because you're autistic. Some family understands that you are different. That doesn't mean that you're broken. That doesn't mean that you're wrong. But here in America, most of us are broken. Your society hates us. You talk about how the mental health system is wrong, but then you do nothing. Where's your mental health march? The abuse that I go through daily, including neglect, and this is neglect, neglecting an at-risk adult while he is abused for fucking years, and you never let him ever even once defend his name. Nobody should have to do the things that I've done to protect myself and my loved ones, but god damn it, if somebody's got to, and it's gotta be me, then it's me. Nobody else is gonna do the fucking job. Now, let's pretend that every person who builds something is autistic. Let's pretend that everybody who needs some fucking space is autistic. And let's pretend that autistic people are all selfish. My God, you people push that shit. People's decisions showed their bias, showed their sexism. And a lot of these people have different motivations from one another, don't they? Brandon Ratner doesn't want to be alone. He's a tail chaser. Pierre just wants to get his dick wet. Tail chaser too. Different reasons and different motivations, but when it comes down to it, it's still selfish. When you will throw away a friend who is being harmed because you want to get laid, what kind of a friend are you? And how many of my male friends have typed at me expecting me to understand, hey, you know, I got this woman over. See, that's where men expect you to understand. Men expect you to understand that they will stab you in the back because they might get laid tonight. Matter of fact, if a woman is playing with his head, he may get pissed off at you because you need his help, but he's been led on for 5 days this week. He's also been asked to do a bunch of manual labor for this lady. Dude, she's leading you on. She's pretending that she likes you. She's not interested in your penis. She's interested in what you can do for her. Now, if you're a good man, you're not going to be fooled by that. If you're a man who just wants to get laid, then that works. But for somebody like me, it's just annoying. Hey, you asked for my help because you needed help. I helped you because you needed help. It's got nothing to do with sex. No, you don't owe me a BJ for helping you move out of your abusive ex's house. But I'm stuck in public. See, that's something that you guys don't stop to recognize. I was forced homeless because Natalie had somebody else blow her fucking brains out. I was forced into homelessness because of my abusers. My abusers. You guys want to pretend I'm a bad person for cursing? That emotional abuse is somehow magically okay if you do it to a man. Like making false diagnosis. Oh, you know, Sean didn't give me what I wanted, so I'm going to go spreading slander and pretending he's fucking psycho or schizophrenic or stalking me or threatening to kill my family. And guess what? With zero fucking evidence and zero fucking court dates, The American people in public chose to do horrible things. By the time Natalie died, it was pretty obvious that I didn't have any friends. Matter of fact, it was pretty obvious in October of 2015 that I didn't have any friends. I hurt my back, and my friends did not give a shit. They were busy giving me advice. I needed to heal up, but I was getting fucked with by cops every goddamn night. I needed help turning them in. I needed help getting to a safe place where I was not victimized because I was too fucked up physically to be able to come anywhere near defending myself. I couldn't carry my backpack full of gear. That's what Natalie rescued me from. The Boulder fucking police department and my fake ass friends and my fake ass family who did not give a fuck when I no longer had the ability to be their little bitch boy, their errand boy. Sean, my this is broken. Sean, my that is broken. Sean, this person did this. Sean, this person did that. Sean, I need help. I've got kids. Well, fuck all of you. Building stuff does not make you autistic. Being a shop dad doesn't make you autistic. Needing to do something to get the fuck away from your wife and her constant goddamn bitching about every other motherfucker in town. Yeah, it's nice to have a shop where you can go in there, you can close the door. You can turn on some machinery and drown out the bullshit. And you can build something to make the world a better place. Yeah, maybe it's just aesthetically. Maybe it's just a carving. Maybe it's a breadboard or something. Something that's arbitrary and pretty much fucking, well, a labor of love to do it. Of course, you can get a cutting board for like $8 at the grocery store. And sure, it'll cost you $14 worth of materials and electricity in order to make yourself a cutting board. You don't make it because it's more expensive. You make it because it occupies time where you need to try to get your head straight because she won't shut the fuck up about all the Beckys in town. How many men out there thought they were marrying a wonderful woman who accepted them how they are and ended up being married to a fucking Becky or a goddamn Karen? Then we've taught women, somehow they've gotten this idea in their heads. Seems pretty screwed up in America to blame a woman for something that she did now. Isn't that crazy? We've taught women that all they have to do is play victim and they're allowed to destroy a man's life and other people are expected to go along. We post up on the news about how the mentally ill and the homeless, the mentally ill and the homeless, we are the most hated people in the fucking country. You can't tell the difference between schizophrenia and post-traumatic stress disorder, and you want to go diagnosing your own goddamn dad as autistic because he needs to get some time away from your fucking teeny bopper bullshit and your mom's constant fucking whorehounding. Your dad cares about his family. Do you really think he wants to hear about every other person in fucking town? Do you think he wants to spend his life, his entire life, listening to your fucking drama? Does he want to spend the rest of his life listening to his wife and his daughter complaining about every goddamn thing? Men this, men that, men this, men that. Men this, men that, men this, men that. It's men's fault. Men did this to us. It's men's fault. We have to wear makeup. Well, there are plenty of women that don't wear makeup. It's a competition thing. Men are competitive and women work together. No, women are highly competitive too. But they're allowed to work together. Men are not. How dare you stick up for a man? What a horrible person he is, and what a horrible person you are for sticking up for him. So that's why you guys help men by bullshitting them. You show your sexism with the "you just need to man up" bullshit. People sure don't like it when I say you need to man up. People sure like telling me I need to take responsibility for my own actions. I absolutely fucking do. I don't take responsibility for my options, though. My options are determined by my looks, my income, and my popularity. What can I provide? I knew a lot of women out on the streets who ended up married with children because it was the only way for them to get off the streets. For many of them, they didn't intend on ever getting pregnant. They just couldn't stand the guy that they were with, so they ended up getting drunk and having sex. Next thing you know, you're 6 years into a shitty marriage. You got lucky and he didn't start beating you in the first year, so you only went through 5 years of beatings. A girl interrupted, got on this morning, and she wanted to type about Stockholm Syndrome. We've got survivor's remorse. It's unfortunate that I survived and she didn't. Survivor's remorse. The girl interrupted was wanting to talk about Stockholm Syndrome, which is, well, what Patty Hearst was supposed to have had. Patty Hearst was a rich lady who was abducted. But because she was a rich girl, it didn't matter. Because she was a rich girl, people were looking for her, and where did she show up? She showed up robbing banks. This rich girl who was abducted was robbing banks. She got off. It's not even a slap on the fucking wrist compared to what she'd done. But she had Stockholm Syndrome, apparently. This is where the people that you abduct start to believe your bullshit. And maybe your bullshit's right. Maybe you are right, but you're not right in abducting someone. I could have kidnapped a lot of people along the road. Instead of kidnapping people, I help them. Instead of stealing food from people, I feed them. Instead of stealing blankets from them and stealing days of their lives for locking them up, for using that blanket. You know what I did in Boulder, Colorado? I passed out blankets until 3 a.m. And then in the morning, I walked around to where I knew that the homeless people that I gave blankets to slept, and I woke them up before Officer Steinman could give them a ticket and start a fight. It was one of Steinman's favorite things to do in the morning. Pretty much every officer's favorite thing to do in the morning. Go make our lives hell. Then we're supposed to believe anything that is shoved at us by the opposite sex. We are expected to believe anything that a woman says, no matter how much bullshit it is. And when you catch them bullshitting, what are they going to do? Well, we have taught them to play victim. I'm an asshole, and I admit it. I shouldn't have to be an asshole. It shouldn't be necessary for me to do any of the things that I do. Blame the poor. That's the American way. Steal from the poor and give it to the rich. That is the American way. Divide and fucking conquer. Until you ladies knock off your sexist bullshit, well, you should stop asking us for help, stop expecting us to help, and as long as you're going to go into a shitty relationship because you can use your vagina to do so, keep in mind there are lots of men that I know who are just as big a whores, like Joshua Hebert. So, obviously, it's not a gender-specific thing. It's not a gender-specific role. And that crackhead bullshit needs to quit being pushed. Patty Hearst helped rob a bank. What are the chances that she was actually abducted? Well, chances are pretty good she was actually trying to slum it. Rich girl on the south side of the tracks? Yeah. God, can't get my fucking seatbelt working. It sucks. It's alright though, I ain't dead. Much better. Alright. So, over to the one place that I can go. That one place is Fred Meyer's. I might get in trouble just for being there. I've been in trouble for just being there before. Could you just come in here and hang out all day? Well, I'm not coming in and just hanging out all day. I'm coming in and being a fucking customer and doing what I fucking can to do something about fucking human trafficking and fucking child molesters, you pieces of shit. If your profits are worth more than human lives, fuck your profits. Anyway, there are a lot of reasons that men build things. Like, well, there's a saying, an idle mind is the devil's workshop. After listening to your wife fucking bitch about trivial shit, about everybody else in fucking town, and gossiping, that is all of your conversations are always gossiping. And then you gotta listen to your daughter complaining that she didn't get the newest Prada backpack, or the newest Skechers, or the newest Louis fucking Vuitton. Now the girl interrupted bringing that up. You know, there's a lot of attachment issues that a lot of people have with their abusers, especially if their abuser is family. Especially if you're dependent upon your abusers to take care of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Very bottom rung of the pyramid, food, water, and shelter. Some people put sex in there at the bottom rung. Like, really? You think sex is a sex? I've literally gone years without sex, and it's never killed me. Lack of sex has never killed me. Matter of fact, I can't even think of anybody that I've ever even heard of who has died from lack of sex. So there's that. Oh. Oh. Ooh, fucking cold. On the bright side, I am at the Fred Meyer's. Starbucks is open. and I am going to go in and try to get something productive done, although with all of the ambient noise in there, it's not really a likely thing to happen. On the bright side, I am far less likely to get kicked out of the Fred Meyer Starbucks than I am to get kicked out of the library for trying to do these things. Oh. 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 Your dad's not autistic. He just needs a break once in a while. Can you let him have a break once in a while without trying to diagnose him with something? Your dad gets sick of hearing about your high school bullshit. When he goes out to the garage, he's not trying to be antisocial. He's trying not to go completely batshit fucking crazy. Why the hell do you care so goddamn much about a fucking Prada backpack? Why do you give so much of a shit about whether or not you have your hair dyed the fresh new color? When I was younger, I wanted to dye my hair hot pink. Back then, it was less socially acceptable. As far as men go, it is still very much not socially acceptable. But then we've got girls like, of course, you've seen the Bratz dolls. That's very much what Alicia Bollinger tries to paint her up as. She paints herself up as if she's one of those Bratz dolls. No, that's just gross. Can't you be a person? You tell me that it's for you, it's for you, it's for you. No, it's not. If it was for you, you'd do it in the privacy of your own home. Also, you want to yell at a man, tell him to look you in the eye, look you in the eye, look you in the eye. But if a man does look you in the eye, you pretend he's trying to intimidate you because he saw you. Oh my God! He didn't ignore you outright. He must be a what? Ignoring people, is that a male trait? No. The way that we are here in the United States is based on how we are taught. We teach our little boys and girls that when they're victimized, it means their predator likes them and should be allowed to get away. When you're on the playground and that boy hits your daughter, or that girl hits your son, and you say, oh, well, that just means they like you. No. Now you've just taught your daughter or your son that abuse is okay. That abuse means somebody likes them. You have also taught the person who hit them that it's okay because you haven't done anything to stop it. You haven't done anything about it to correct the behavior. The police here have repeatedly blown me off and talked over me and been complete and total dipshits. They do that nationwide when you're homeless. The hospitals treat you the fucking same. You're treated like you're a goddamn junkie no matter what. I've recorded a lot of the addicts out here. Some of y'all want to assign addiction as a sign that you're autistic. Oh, well, if you're addicted to drugs, it's because you're autistic. Autistic people are prone to that. Are you sure? Seems to me that's a trauma reaction, not an autism reaction. Your dad building things. That doesn't mean he doesn't love you. That doesn't mean he doesn't care about you. The fact that he listens to all of your obsessive bullshit is proof of that. The fact that he buys you useless shit. The fact that he goes to work and you paint his work on your face while you complain to him that he doesn't understand. Well, at least he's fucking trying. He understands that you're in competition with a Becca at your school. He understands about Karens. He's got to deal with them more than you do. When he goes to work, he has to mind his P's and Q's a lot more than you do. You can post up stuff in your cubicle at work that says, so many men, so little aspirin, with a picture of a baby screaming. But then again, if he glances your general direction at work, and you feel like he was raping you with his eyes in half a second, then he loses his goddamn job. Meanwhile, you flirt and make googly eyes with the good-looking guys at work, or the guys with the money at work. Is money grubbing an autistic trait? Is trying to get other people to give you shit for free an autistic trait? No, PTSD is an autistic trait. Most of you who try to diagnose us, you're diagnosing us off of, well, the symptoms, not the actual issue. Oh, he's exhibiting PTSD reactions. He must be autistic and retarded. And that is how you treat us. No, your dad is not autistic just because he builds stuff. Just because somebody needs 5, 10, 15 minutes to themselves in a day doesn't make them autistic. Just because somebody has been forced into seclusion and isolation doesn't make them autistic. Just because a male needs a mental health day does not mean that he's autistic. Cigarettes are bad, okay?